Almost Christmas time at The Informer, and the very first time we can say welcome back to The Informer for the newly elected Lord Mayor, Sally Capp. Great to have you in the studio. We got a chance to talk right after the elections. Terrific stuff. You've got so much to do. Getting life back into the city, one of the world's most livable cities, is going to be tremendous. A lot of people, everyone's telling us what they want to see done. What would you like to see done between now and Christmas and, of course, into the 21st year of this incredible century, which has offered up so much disruption for us already?
Well, hello, George.
Hello.
That was quite a big question to start with, so much there. It's lovely to be here. And yes, in this year of incredible change in extraordinary circumstances, we also had an election. And so pleased that I get to be Lord Mayor of Melbourne for the next 4 years.
You cruised it.
It's always a big...
No, it was great support. You've done very well, and the community saw it, and you're back in. But you've got so much to do.
We do. So there wasn't even really a moment to
take a breath
and take a breath, because this year has been very much about building towards this momentum of revitalisation. During COVID, it was about making sure we delivered our essential services, being there to support for hardship for residents and small business owners, and then an enormous effort preparing for that easing of restrictions, because we knew that the pace and strength of that push to recovery was really going to set the momentum as we move forward. Of course, it's going to take a long time to recover fully, whatever that ends up meaning. And so the work that has gone into making sure that as soon as we're allowed to, we could deliver on major events like Urban Blooms, Fashion Festival, Music Week, Christmas activation, ready for New Year's Eve, all of those things to actually entice and attract people back, for them to overcome that concern around, and the barriers, frankly, that are around returning to the city after months of being outside our CBD. Yeah. We knew they had to be absolutely compelling elements to bring people back.
Hygiene for public transport needed to be up there and then some to get
Cleaning,
the confidence of the people.
social distancing, mask wearing to the extent that that's been necessary and continues to be, hand sanitizer all over the city. But people have responded so well, just as they did really.
The first time
we adhered to the restrictions for lockdown, and now people are being really respectful about what we need to do, because nobody wants to go back. And we've seen what the impact is on our small business owners in particular. We can't go back to that. So
no, we can't.
That concerted effort, that sense of remaining unified on doing the right thing and bringing people back is our number one aim.
Is small business helping you by understanding that QR codes, the quick response codes, absolutely first option?
If they weren't already exhausted and depleted this year, they've again stood up and said COVID-safe plans, absolutely. Great. So that dedication to making sure they're doing the right thing so that people can come in, have a good experience, talk about it and share it with friends, that's paramount. Our next really big thing, now that we've reactivated the city, outdoor dining permits.
Yes,
we didn't even say
big deal.
That's been extraordinary.
We've seen some of the red tape not pushed to one side, but you're thinking a bit differently, which
City
is exciting.
Yes. It's about saying, we want to do this, let's make it happen. Of course, consider the risks and the elements that we need to manage, but instead of putting those first, we're focused on how do we actually deliver. And it's been fabulous to see us become a city of yes, because of course for the mental fatigue that there's been, the emotional fatigue, to be welcomed back in with a city of yes attitude and approach. Again, it's just been absolutely fantastic.
We were in the city last weekend to catch up and have
Supporting
our first yum.
our local economy, George.
Yes, we did. We came in, and not only did we find parking, which was absolutely imperative, but we got in and did our first yum cha for nearly 8 months, which is absurd because we used to have it each and every other week. It was part of our ritual, and we've missed it so terribly. But I noticed that council got on the front foot very early on when you heard that there was a possible chance those beautiful windows filled with Christmas were not going to be on and available. Council came to the party and said, hang on, we can support that. Tell us about that.
It's such a good point, because a lot about what's happened this year has been around cooperating, collaborating, supporting each other, from individuals through to organisations. Christmas Windows, it's 65 years this year.
Wow. Started
with the Olympics, and now we find ourselves at the end of a COVID year. And when Maya reached out to say, look, we're going to really struggle to be able to deliver this with all of the extra restrictions and the cost that comes with that. We were really pleased to be able to respond as a council and say, we'll partner with you, because people at the end of this year, we want to go back to those cherished experiences
families,
that we share. Exactly.
I can't begin to tell you how many families said to us, fantastic.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of young families around us in Port Melbourne, and they all want to go into the city. They all want to see the Maya windows, because it's tradition.
Of people.
It's tradition.
And they're going to have something to eat. They're going to buy something while they're here. And
it
just reminds them how good Melbourne is.
But there's more change in the wind. Christmas and New Year's going to look totally different in the city this year. What have you got planned?
Well, we've got...
You ready?
I call it the Christmas Extravaganza. I do feel like a bit of an advertisement, a walking advertisement for Melbourne at the
we've
moment.
missed the Spring Racing Carnival. It came and it went. So
many things, exactly. So all of the things that you would expect. You can come and see Santa in his workshop with the elves. You can see the magnificent Christmas tree in Federation Square. We've got the Christmas projections that we have at Town Hall and State Library. We've got lots of businesses doing their own activations, from traditional Christmas markets through to big Christmas feasts that are underway. There are so many special offers that are being put forward. Christmas windows, the parklets for outdoor dining, lots of fantastic things to come and enjoy, and all in a COVID-safe way as well.
And all in readiness for the big extravaganza come New Year's Eve. Talk to us about that.
Well, look, this is another great example of how we've had to adapt for COVID, but we will not let this pandemic defeat us in making sure that people feel that they can come to the city too. I mean, who doesn't want to say goodbye to 2020 and welcome in 2021?
Get rid of it, pronto.
We're not doing the fireworks, and it's really important, because the fireworks would normally attract an audience of sort of hundreds of thousands, 400,000 last year we had. And we can't do that in a COVID-safe environment. So
but what
really
you can
a big
do
signal is to say that our city is still open for people to come and celebrate with family and friends, to get into the atmosphere of celebrating, and to do that in a way that is really, again, supporting and acknowledging what a great offer we have.
So will you extend public transport the run throughout the night?
Public transport throughout the night. We've extended it over effectively 2 days. So there's a big, it's called Street Feast. I should have said that we're closing central parts of the city, closing streets like Burke Street, Flinders Lane, areas in Docklands.
So we'll be able to walk through the city?
The restaurants are coming out onto the streets. There'll be performers. We will have that wonderful vibe. And it's New Year's Eve, New Year's brunch, in case you're suffering a little bit, and then again on New Year's Day for dinner. So we've really spread out the celebration as well, so that people don't feel compelled to come in at the one time. All of the public transport, all of the safety mechanisms, crowd management, all of those things have been thoughtfully planned to make sure we can deliver this well. Hotels have special offers on for accommodation, shows. You can go to your favourite places still. You can buy a ticket for street feasts. To me, it's about us celebrating what Melbourne is renowned for. And just as a comparison, in Sydney, they're going ahead with fireworks, which I understand because it is spectacular, but they're closing their city for the night to manage the crowd. So a big spectacular show closing the city.
It's more global.
We're not doing the show, we are doing the city. And Melbourne is about experiences and about sharing those experiences with others. And we want people to feel fantastic about what a future in Melbourne looks like, and it'll be a big deal that night.
Now, numbers-wise, you've had a lot of your testing gives you know full well if the numbers are coming back. Are you seeing the numbers? Are we seeing numbers across the street that give you confidence that we're on the right path? And if things hold true, we're looking to get things up and bustling again, as only Melbourne can do.
Yeah, look, there's positive momentum, there's no doubt. What's that saying? There are green shoots.
Yes.
So over the last 3 weeks, we've actually seen our midweek foot traffic go up about 15%.
Bravo.
Our weekend foot traffic has gone up about 18%. That's the good news. The bad news is that we're still at 30% on year-on-year comparisons midweek and 50% on weekends. And our big push going into 2021 is to bring our workers back. They are about half of our daily population, the corporate employees. We're working with the major employers to do that really well. We know what the barriers are.
Is state government thinking about getting the public servants back?
Department of Transport as
Right.
well. So the barriers are very much commute time and public transport. State governments.
So we stagger times? We see stagger
start times,
Right. Okay.
stagger days that people return, cleaning of public transport, social distancing to give reassurance, cleaning around the city in those high pedestrian zones again, and then coordination with the employers to make sure that workers go into an office environment that is safe and COVID compliant. State government bringing workers back, Australian government committed to bringing workers back, and we've got major employers all working on their plans.
Yeah.
We need to see those workers come back for us to feel confident that Melbourne is on the right track.
Your second and third tier establishments that have been thriving on all those workers that come into the city will depend on them.
So for example, the ANZ, they've done a terrific job as they've started to reopen their branches and welcome employees back. They've been giving them budget to support their favourite coffee shops and bakeries and patisseries around. So if you go in as a customer, you'll get a cup of coffee and a muffin. If you're there as an employee, you've been able to support your favourite barista in the morning. Those sorts of initiatives, they are putting smiles on people's dials, and you see that as you walk around the city.
Not only that, we're seeing the big clubs in the city, whether it's the Australia Club or the RACV, they're now open. And the many facilities they've had to offer, which have been turned off for the better part of half a dozen months, are now back on. And that's, again, goes to very much what you're saying. Slowly but surely, Melbourne is coming alive again.
Our galleries are reopening, the museums are reopening.
And I hear the theatre season is turning,
Oh, it is.
and we may well be able to see some fantastic productions again.
We will. So that will be into next year. But can I say already, the Fringe Festival did a great job.
Yep.
The day that we were allowed to have audiences again at midnight, they held a show that I went to, just to be able to be part of an audience again, and for those performers to feel that energy and appreciation was absolutely fantastic. I've been to a new comedy club in the city, Comedy Republic. They've started live shows again. Of course, the audiences are limited due to social distancing, but that's the sort of vibe. And you bring that energy out across and through the streets of Melbourne, and it's what we need.
Do we have any word yet about the Australian Tennis Open? Because you know what that means for Melbourne.
It does. I believe we do, in that it's going ahead.
Great.
It's going ahead in February.
Yep.
The unknown at the moment is that the COVID safe plan is in place. It's now well understood what tennis players and their entourages will need to do to arrive, to train and then to play. And of course, it's now up to the players to show their support for the Australian Open and commit to all of those requirements. And I think it's going to be very positive, because the Australian Open has always been one of the favourites. They know how well run it is. Craig and the team do a terrific job.
Well, it's not only that, the precinct has come to
Just to
another
say,
level.
exactly.
What you're offering now, what we offer to the world now, is, when you consider, I came back to the city about 22 years ago, what we have today to offer the world is exceptional.
Yeah.
Top draw,
Sports
first class.
precincts, art precincts, all of those offers. We won't be able to have the same crowds and the same density, but normally there'd be 800,000 people over the 2 weeks.
Have you spoken to state government about free transport? Is there any way we can
I'm always talking to them about free transport. I love our free tram zone. I want it to extend. But yes, of course, all of those things, major events. Look, the state government has been so proactive during COVID and worked really well with us. So many of our events and the initiatives and the programs that we've been able to do are in partnership with the state government. And we know that they've got the same goal, and that is to reactivate all of the things that we've loved. And I think we've realised over COVID, we've taken a lot of these things for granted. I mean, our National Gallery of Victoria is world class, and we can get back in there and support them. Our Arts Centre is world class, our museums, our theatres, all of these things. Melbourne Music Week at the moment kicking off with 100% local talent from today.
Wow. And
we have got venues sold out. That sense of really appreciating what we've
Well, that tells you that people are suddenly have appreciated what they haven't had for a year, or just about. Sally Capp, thank you for joining us. Thanks for coming in. Merry Christmas to you and the team at the council. And let's make sure that we get rid of 2020 pronto. And 21 looks magical compared to this one.
I can't wait.
Can't wait.
Thanks, George.
Should we talk about the draft, or is that for another time?
Draft?
Only kidding. See ya.
See you.